9:02. I think we can begin. People will start joining as well. That's all right. In the meantime, I just want to say a few words before we start. We kick off this session of the Insurtech Breakfast this morning. So welcome everybody. So it's 9:02 now, so coffee should be up, the energy should be high, and we got a packed session ahead, and we're absolutely thrilled to share this morning with you and our brilliant guest. So my name is, let me introduce myself. My name is Gabriela Trujillo, and I am the Marketing Communications Manager at HITS. Thank you so much for joining us today. As you know, the Insurtech Breakfast is the perfect platform to open up insightful conversations that help us learn a little bit more of what's happening in our industry, what can we improve, evolve, and keep ideas fresh and flowing. So today's session is all about how blockchain is moving and from the hype of the business as usual into asset management, thanks to Iznes, the pan-European production-grade platform developed within the Generali ecosystem. I am very excited and very especially excited to introduce our guest speaker. We have today Rémi, Managing Director, Head of Unit-Linked Asset at Generali France. Hi, Rémi.
Hi, everybody.
Hello. We cannot wait to hear what you're going to bring to the table today. But before we begin, so let's just review a few things. So today, the session, Rémi will give his presentation, and we have plenty of time for a Q&A after the presentation. So please just save your questions for the end or pop them in the chat as we go. We will read them out loud, no worries. Also, if you'd like to ask a question yourself, you just raise your hand and we will open the mic for you so you can directly interact. And also, very important, this session is being recorded. So if you're feeling a little bit shy this morning, feel free to turn off your camera, but we always encourage you to see a familiar face and interact with us as well. So with that said, please join me in welcoming Rémi, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Gabriela. Thank you all for being there today, and thank for HITS for his hosting. I'm very pleased to be with you. I can recognize some colleagues or faces I have crossed in the past on those topics. The topic of today is to share how we did build, invest and use a blockchain platform in order to accelerate, save cost and securize our unit-linked operations. So maybe on the first slide, I have a brief presentation. If you can, Mattia, go through the second slide. Great. About the use case I'm gonna explain today. So the business concern is the saving and pension business. As you may know, it's a major topic for France as well for the group insurance company, as our life business is predominant. The process we have covered is about the transaction and record keeping of share of funds that we are selling in the liability side to our customer who invest in their pension or saving policies to be exposed to market. So for those who are not perfectly aligned with that process, you may know that in an insurance wrapper, you can invest in different buckets. The secured one, which is the general account of the company, and then you have possibility to invest in unit-linked. Unit-linked are funds, might be a lot of financial instruments who provides you exposure to different investment strategies. In order to do that, the company has to replicate and buy and sell those units of funds which has been subscribed by the customer. The customer are not directly holding those funds. They are holding unit linked on the liability side of the balance sheet of the company. And the company has to buy and sell to replicate what the customer wants to do. Traditionally, this is done through what we call the post-trade infrastructure market, on which I will come back in order to illustrate how this blockchain platform and the technology can improve deeply the classical process and give advantages to all the players, meaning the insurance company who buys and sells funds and the asset management companies who are selling their funds to the asset owner, meaning the insurance company. Maybe on the next slide, a few words about the platform, but a few words maybe first, because on that environment, everything starts with the law, because it's a very regulated activity, and the regulation has to be promoting disruption. In France, we had the chance to be quite an early mover, because in 2017, so 8 years ago, a law was published, edicted, saying that a transaction on share of funds in a digital ledger technology is proof of property. So it's a very simple article, very short, as you can see, but it was a real game changer for our activities. That means that DLT is a real trust counterpart, as trustable as a bank. Traditionally, the guy who is doing record keeping and order processing on financial instrument, for an asset owner, it is a bank who acts as a custody bank. And that article from Loi Sapin 2, it's the name of the Minister of Finance who was in place at that time. You know that we have multiple of them in France since 2017, and it's not finished. That law explained clearly that a digital ledger technology, so a blockchain, can be substitute to a custodian bank to be able to perform the same activity. And that was key, because that means that a blockchain is as robust as a corporate bank to provide the proof of ownership of an asset. And why the regulator promotes that law? Because he thought, and he's still very relevant, that the blockchain technology, through integrity, cryptography, security, resilience, auditability, is robust enough, maybe more robust than the ledger held by a bank, to perform those activities. So it was in 2017, and at that time, some asset managers and insurers on the French market launched a kind of informal workshop in order to elaborate on what advantage we can altogether take from that new regulation. And at the end of 2017, beginning of 2018, during a lot of workshops and meetings, lunches, dinner, parties, we have land on the design of a prototype of what is today the Iznes blockchain. We had two main axes to develop that. First, it has to be in a private blockchain, which with a proof of authority protocol holded by the platform. That was our first main guide, and we have linked with the French regulator to be sure that that choice was the good one. And the second topic is that that platform, which has been launched as a company, has to be a regulated actor, meaning that Iznes is not a tech provider, but it is a regulated investment company, regulated by AMF and ACPR, which are the two regulators, local regulators in France. And that regulation and that license has been passported as well in Luxembourg, in Ireland, and in other jurisdictions now. So at that beginning, 2018, let's say the adventure was launched with some participants. Generali was not part of it. We have been part of the workshops and the informal exchange we have done through 1 year after the promulgation of the law, because I wanted to be sure that I will be able to play with a regulated company and with a tool which will be more than a paperboard, but to be developed and to reach a minimum viable product before entering it. So that's the story. The law helps us a lot. Now the regulation in Europe is, let's say, updating its own local doctrine in order to go ahead on that scope. It's not perfectly coordinated in Europe because some countries have let's say, a kind of a protectionism approach, because you may see after that process, which secures our operation, also bypasses a lot of intermediaries which were before used by asset owner and asset manager to perform their activities. That's a good transition to the next slide, which is a little bit let's say, difficult to read in precision, but it gives you a good overview of what was the process before and what is the process now. For France, for example, when as an asset owner, I want to buy a share of funds which has been invested by Matthias or Gabriela in his life insurance contract, I have to send order to a bank, a custodian bank, which will act as transfer agent, send that order to the clearer of the fund, then to the central system depository, who will send it to the TA and then the asset servicer of the fund, which will send it finally to the asset management company. So you can see that path on a subscription or redemption flows are go through a lot of intermediaries, which all of them takes, of course, time, fees, and aggregates more and more the information, meaning that at the end of the pipe, the asset management company doesn't know precisely who is buying what and for what purpose. So it's in the French setup. The CSD mentioned on the graph is Euroclear in France, can be Clearstream, and can be all the central system depositories which are used on the European market. You can see if we are buying a non-French domiciliate fund, but an Irish or a Luxembourgish fund, that it goes approximately in the same way. with intermediaries, which needs to be paid to take time to transfer and to reach finally the asset management company, which will issue a new share of funds in case of subscription, or which will destroy share of funds in case of redemptions. A little zoom on the unlisted fund that covers all the private asset funds, which are quite dynamic from a market perspective today, and that covers private equity, private debt, infrastructure product, real estate, all the unlisted space. In the classical setup, all those funds don't have any market infrastructure standard to transact with asset owners, meaning that all the flows are through subscription templates, which has to be signed, then it has to be sent by mail to the custodian or the centralisator of the fund, who will transmit it to the asset manager, who will transmit it to the asset servicer, etc. The cash leg has to be done separately and manually. So it's a very heavy process, which is of course consuming time and people, and which is, as it is manual, quite risky in terms of operational risk that we may face. So that was the scope, and that is still the scope of how it works on our markets for an asset owner to buy shares of funds to an asset manager. The Iznes platform completely broke that space, allowing us to create, through the blockchain, a direct peer-to-peer connection between the asset owner to the asset manager, avoiding to use banks, custodian, transfer agent, and central depository system, or central security depository, which provides, of course, real-time efficiency. We are saving a lot of time doing that job through Iznes today, which are saving costs, of course, and which provides as well for the asset manager a lot of transparency and a lot of detail of who is buying what, which asset company, which asset owner is buying which share of funds, how many, which portfolio is buying what. So bringing to the asset management side a more granular view on their own customer basis and on the movements. Just a few words, how can we save time? On the top graph, because of all those intermediaries, you can imagine that the custodian bank asked us to send the orders 1 hour and a half before the cutoff time of the fund. In the perspective of a fund, you have a cutoff time, meaning that after that time, the order can't be executed on the NAV, on the value of the day. So it is key for an asset owner to be sure that all the orders you send are going to be executed on day D, and the custodians and CSD ask us a comfort cutoff, which is, for example, if the cutoff of the fund is at 12, you have to send your orders before 10:30 to be sure that they are going to be executed on D. On Iznes, as it is real-time process, we can send orders until 11:59 with the security, the absolute security, and the absolute conviction that it will be executed on day. It seems to be a detail in real life when we, as Generali France, are processing more than 2,000 orders per day, giving back the team 1.5 hour comfort time to build the order book and to check everything is definitely a game changer. Maybe we can go through the next slide. And then I will, show you about what is the value-added proposition of the platform on the next slide again. So as I have mentioned before, the aim is to connect directly investors and asset managers for all type of funds through a regulated marketplace, and to enhance all the process and give to asset manager an alternative distribution point to enhance their distribution capacities and to reach more efficiently their customers through operations. So that's the main use case. If we go on the next slide, you may see that the use case of the marketplace, meaning transacting with orders and keeping record in the blockchain, has been more and more developed in other use cases. One of them, which is critical, is the data management of the financial instruments we buy in the asset side. Let me take a minute to explain you that, because it's quite an interesting use case. As an insurer, I have to evaluate the policies of my customers every day. You can imagine. In order to do that, I have to receive the price, the daily price of each financial instrument I have sold in unit linked to my customers. As we are in an open architecture, meaning that we have more than 5,000 funds in our balance sheet, I need to pay a provider, a financial data provider, to collect all those data and to send me every day with an automated process all the price of all the financial instrument in order to be used for valuation of the policies of the customer, in order that the customer every day can see on their app or on their customer space on internet what the evolution of the valuation of their policies on unit linked. Of course, I use those financial data providers, and I pay for that. And it's not cheap, as you can imagine. On the other side, the asset managers are using the same guys to disseminate their prices of their fund, and they also pay it. So the asset managers pay somebody to sell me data. The funny topic is that data, prices, characteristics, etc., are free and are public. I may organize myself to hire a bunch of people which will to every day connect themselves to the internet sites of the asset managers to copy paste the NAV in our system. Of course, it's not efficient, but this information is public. This information is free, but due to the organization of the actual ecosystem, transmission is not automatic. Through blockchain, as we have built a peer-to-peer line which is securized through blockchain, it's easy for us to synchronize the repository of the fund, which includes all those characteristics, dynamic and statics, with our internal repository funds, repository data for funds, and then to avoid paying any more providers who were, of course, useful in the past because it was the only way for us to receive all those data, but which are not anymore efficient, because that peer-to-peer applications is much more efficient. Second topic is about KYC. Know your customer, know your counterpart. When I'm, as an asset owner, buying and selling funds to an asset manager, I have to fulfill a KYC file. The asset manager has to fulfill as well a KYC file, and we have to check before entering in business relation that we are compatible, that we agree together, because we are professional, because we have registered, because the main owners of the companies are recognized, because we don't have any problems with taxes, laws, etc. So that the KYC. Previously, I had to hire for half full-time employee a colleague from compliance who has to answer to the 350 requests of the 350 asset managers I'm working with, in order to provide us the update of our KYC, in order to ask us to provide the update, etc., etc. It was boring. Of course, it's always the same information, but everybody is working with his own template, even if there is some market initiative to try to rationalize that. So, a mess. The Iznes platform includes, of course, a KYC module. I put my KYC as an investor in the platform once, and then I decide to share it with the participant of the platforms which I want to work with. And it of course, saves a lot of time. Of course, the benefits as well are on resilience and security, reducing operational risk, saving money concretely, because I don't have to pay all those intermediaries anymore. We work in a private blockchain as it's a pure B2B business, and I want to choose the provider of funds I want to work with. The asset management company wants to choose as well to whom their funds are distributed, of course, for risk reason, and that process, peer-to-peer, has been totally harmonized, and we don't face any more different process for different type of assets, meaning liquid assets for French domiciliated, liquid assets for Irish, all the domiciliation which are allowed in France, and private assets. All the process is the same, and brings, of course, efficiency. And as the platform is quite modern, it's easy to plug and play with all the API, SFTP format of file. Of course, it's part of the Swift network, which is the standard protocol on security exchanges. Maybe shall we go through the last one in order to explain where we are today. So, as I said at the beginning of the story, I asked the platform first to be regulated, second to show me that the paperboard was not just a concept, but it works, and we decided to enter in the cap table of the company in 2019. So the company was first invested by asset managers, those one, La Financière de l'Échiquier, La Banque Postale Asset Management, Groupama, Société Générale, and OFI Investment. It's the bunch of five people who decided to invest first in the prototype and develop the company. Generali is owning today around 20% of the cap table, meaning that we are clearly part of the game in defining the strategy and the roadmap of the product. New investors reaches the capital of the platform since 2019, quite prestigious one like Rothschild, like Fédéral Finance, who's the holding of a Crédit Mutuel in France, which is a big bank network, Apicil, which is another insurer, Candriam, as you know, and Euroclear, the CSD I was talking about, who is owning a little part of the company because they want to be part of the adventure, having in mind that disruption of their own business model is going faster. So this is how Generali is involved as shareholder. I am representing Generali at the board. I'm the board member for Generali of the company. As user, we started in 2020 to use the platform. As of today, 13 billion euros of our unit-linked assets are registered in the platform, meaning not anymore registered in a traditional custodian bank. We are working in the platform with around 60 asset managers. Asset managers company are reaching the ecosystem more and more every month, but at time there is 60 asset managers using the platform on a daily basis. There is only as well 20 asset owners using the platform on a daily basis for insurance companies on the French market, as well as corporates who wants to buy for example, some money market funds on the platform, avoiding using a traditional bank for the same reason as we are using. Today, on a daily basis, we are performing around 250 orders and moving around 20 million euros every day, buying and selling share of funds for 20 million euros. So it's not so bad. It's perfectly STP. I mean, there is zero incident. It's full peer-to-peer transaction and very automated process. And all that activity will provide us around 1 million of fees of transaction and custodian fees saved using Iznes toward using traditional banks. So not so bad. Yes, I think we will reach 1 million as of end of 2025. Today we have 13 billion. We will reach 15 billion at the end of 2025. And those figures represents on our total activity 20% of our assets. The Generali France total balance sheet in unit linked is 46 billion euros in market value today. We are working with 350 asset management companies. So those 60 are representing 70%. The orders going through blockchain is around 15% of our total orders, but it increases every day, of course. And the fees we are saving represents around 30% of the total transaction and custodian fees paid by Generali France on a yearly basis. So it's now 12:40. That is the end of my short presentation. As we agreed with Gabriela and Mattia, we wanted to save time to be able to answer to your questions, to your demand of details. I will be very pleased to try to ask to that. As you have understood, I'm not a tech guy, so don't ask me which is the special protocol of the token used in the blockchain. I can find the answer, but it could be later. But please be go on your questions. I hope it's clear enough and it's not too technical on the financial space, and it's understandable. I leave you the floor, Gabriela.
Thank you, Rémi. Thank you so much. So here we can, if anyone in the audience have any questions for Rémi, this is the moment for you to either raise your hand, or you can post them on the chat and we can read them out loud. Also, my colleague Matthias is here in case he also can help reading the questions and so on. But I do believe that is the perfect timing. We have enough time to get the questions going. So if anybody else has any question for Rémi, this is your moment to ask anything about Iznes. Right. So we have one here. Are there any Generali funds on the platform, or are there discussions ongoing with Generali Investments?
So, very good question. Thank you. All the Generali investment funds are available in the platform, meaning the Genam funds, the Generali Investment Luxembourg funds, Sycomore funds, Infranity funds, Lumina funds, Generali Real Estate Fund for a dedicated real estate fund for the French market. So of course we are very closely linked with GIH and all the asset management companies in order to be sure that we are well aligned in terms of process. And yes, of course, the funds managed, well, the asset management companies of the group who are providing funds for unit-linked purpose are connected to the platform and able to use that process to sell and buy back share of funds to group insurers as well as to external insurers if they are connected. Is it answering to your question?
I think it did. But
yes.
Nevertheless,
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. All right. Does anybody else have another question for Rémi? Okay. You can drop a note in the chat. Okay, here we have one from Simona. Hi, Simona. How was the adoption of the new solution by colleagues gone?
It starts. You mean colleagues in the Generali space? Our conviction is that France has invested in the platform, take the venture risk, sophisticated the process in order to be now perfectly adapted to an insurer need. The new step which is opening is, of course, to try to scale up that platform to other business units in the group. We are working on that. We are quite advanced in the Germany company with our colleague from Germany to let them use the platform and take benefit on that use. And we will start having discussions with all my colleagues from investment division in each jurisdiction of Generali to understand more deeply what's how it can bring value, efficiency, and security, as well as cost savings. So that, let's say, scale-up adventure is starting now. We wanted to be sure first that the process is perfectly efficient and securized before expanding. Simona, is it answering to your question? I hope so.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you, Rémi. Sorry, I profit. My last question. What about
Of course, go
the
ahead.
perception within your team, by your people? Were they happy? Were they scared?
They are so happy. They are so happy because, first of all, they save time. They have more time to build an order book with the best efficiency, because they don't have to send the order at the cutoff comfort time in a bank, but they can send it until the cutoff of the fund. Second topic is that we are developing as well new use cases which will bring comfort and efficiency to other part of the team. I take an example. As you know, we are selling unit-linked. For that, in France, we are invoicing rebates, kick-off fees to the asset managers. And that process is quite heavy and boring, because it's a quarterly process. At the end of each quarter, I have to send to each asset management company, meaning 350 different ones, the position record, which is provided by my classical custodian bank on their fund. Then they will receive it and they will compare it to the record which is held by their own depository bank, in order to check that we are on the same line. And of course, we are never on the same line, because there is some little differences in terms of quantity, in terms of dates, etc. You have to understand that through blockchain, the record keeping for the investor, the register is the same for the asset owner and for the asset manager. There's only one register, which is in the DLT, which is secured, inalterable, auditable, etc. That means that we don't have any more to compare our positions in two spaces, because there is only one space when they are recorded, and they have been recorded because every day we agreed on transaction. So nobody, none the asset manager, neither the asset owner, will ask for details on the register, because it's our common register. In that way, we're going to speed up a lot the rebate collection process, both on the asset management side and on the asset owner side. The machine is calculating automatically the position, sending the position directly in parallel to the asset owner and the asset managers. That enters in the local tools of each, with no discussion. I issue an invoice, the asset manager pays, and we go to next chapter. So the teams are very enthusiastic on using that platform. The funny thing is that maybe they don't see the blockchain technology behind. They perceive it as a new digital custodian bank, because at the end, it's a digital custodian bank, recording my position and performing my orders, like Société Générale Securities Services, KCIS, BNP, etc. We are using 14 custodian banks in France. Iznes is one of them for the teams. It's not about technology or blockchain or innovation. It's just about a more modern, efficient, and real-time custodian bank that they are very happy to use in order to be more secure, flexible, efficient on their daily task.
Thank you so much for that answer, Rémi. And also, Simona, for asking your questions. Does anybody else have another question for Rémi before we close the session?
Maybe before closing the session,
yes,
I'll give you a brief introduction of what's next on using.
Yeah, that would be actually really interesting. I was going to ask.
So now the process is up and running. We are performing orders, but on the cash leg of the transaction, we still use cash, and cash has to be provided in a bank account and held in a bank account. The next chapter we are entering is to use digital currencies to perform those operations. And we are quite in advance in France and in Iznes, because we have run a trial last November, which was a trial which was organized by Central Bank, European Central Bank, ECB, and Banque de France. The trial was quite simple. We have bought to ECB some digital currency issued by ECB, so euro tokens, central bank digital currency. We have bought, I don't remember, but it was around 30 million euro tokens to the bank, put that tokens in the blockchain in a cash wallet. And then we have started playing with it with asset management companies which are in the blockchain and were part of the trial, playing with it by buying and selling share of funds, paying with digital currencies, or be paid by digital currencies from the asset manager in case of redemptions. We have done that for 3 weeks. It worked perfectly, meaning that the Iznes blockchain was connected to the Banque de France blockchain in order to secure and to be sure that the tokens were issued, which were issued by ECB, were in the good place. So we proved the interoperability of a private blockchain with another one, which is key, of course. And the second topic is that we have been able to do a very, let's say, magic process, which is, sorry, it's a little bit technical, but it is key for us: instant delivery versus payment. In the real world, when I play with Euroclear, banks, transfer agent, etc., the orders are sent and executed on day, but the delivery of the shares and the payment of those shares takes between 1 to 3 days, because we have to go back through all the process and all the intermediaries who are transporting the order. Of course, it creates a lot of difficulties in terms of synchronization of cash, accounting, etc., etc. In a blockchain where you have in the same space tokens of shares of funds and tokens of cash, you can immediately switch cash versus securities and be updated on your position on real time. And this is, of course, for me, the next revolution of the topic. We are working quite hard and quite deeply with Iznes and a lot of participants and the regulator to see if the famous central bank digital currency will be launched at European level. We are also exploring the space of stable coins, meaning it's cash, euro tokens issued by banks and collateralized, which can be used as instrument of payment. We also experiment a funny thing, which is paying the securities we buy with tokens of share of money market funds, which is quasi-cash, technically. So for me, it's the next step and the next revolution, and it's the topic which will accelerate the adoption of that type of process in the space of business I'm running.
That's really interesting to hear. Thank you, Rémi. Before we go, let me just ask for last time if anybody has another question, just in case. Okay. All right. If not, we will also, as I mentioned before, this session has been recorded. And if anybody would like to have the recording before next week, because we will post it on our channels next week, we can also do that. And if you have any questions or want to do a follow-up, we can connect you with Rémi and keep the conversation going. But as of now, I just want to say thank you so much, Rémi, for all this inspiring session and all your insights. It's been a pleasure picking on your brain and this morning. And to everyone who joined this Friday morning, thank you for your time and your questions. As always, here at the Insurtech Breakfast of Hits, we are delighted to opening up conversations that are meaningful and can leave you with nice ideas in your head. All right.
Thank you, everyone, for your attention and for your interest to that experimentation. Well, it's not anymore an experimentation, as I said. Very pleased to share my experience and very pleased to answer separately to your questions. Don't hesitate to ping me through Teams, mail, or whatever you want.
We'll find a way. We'll find a way. No worries.
Thanks again to Gabriela and all the team for the hosting and the organization of that breakfast. It was a very good session for me.
Thank you so much, Rémi. Thank you, and it was a pleasure for us having you here. All right, so thank you and goodbye. We will see you soon in our next Insurtech Breakfast that we will host in November. So we will keep you posted with more information on the next session that we will have before the year ends. So have a great Friday and weekend ahead. Enjoy yourselves and take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.